Look around the Beekeepers Picnic. Everyone, you have found what to play next. We're bringing everything that is awesome, and I do mean awesome in gaming. So this looked like the most positively charming thing ever. It's set in London in 1903. We never say no to that. We never say no to Victorian Edwardian. Well, I was correct in my summation then. This is where the printing press created by the master counterfeiter Prescott was hidden. No one was arguing with you about that, senor? There must be 2,000 counterfeit notes here. If all these had entered circulation, the Bank of England would have been severely undermined by 2,000 counterfeit notes? I mean, I will take your word for it. I just felt like you had more paper money than that. Now we have only to wait and catch the bird returning to its nest. You think this man Prescott will return? I can't do a good English accent right this second. You think this man Prescott will return here? I can't do it. No, he was killed. It is his murderer I mean to catch. James Winter, alias Killer Evans, known to have shot 3 men in the States. Well, if our Wild West friend tries to live up to his nickname, I'll be ready for him. I have my revolver. Good old Watson. Kapow! That's not a revolver. It's a 22. Stay where you are, Mr. Evans, if you value your life. With a gun trained on you, and Scotland Yard will be with us in a few moments. I would advise you to surrender. I mean, if his sidekick is named Watson, would you really turn down his advice? Well, I guess you've been one too many for me. Mr. Holmes saw through my game, I suppose, and played me for a sucker from the first. Well, sir, I hand it to you. You have me beaten. He draws? Oh my god. Watson gets shot? You're not allowed to shoot Watson. You're not hurt, Watson. For God's sake, say that you're not hurt. It's nothing, Holmes, merely a scratch. Examine for yourself. It's just a flesh wound in my thigh. You are right. It is quite superficial. It's Killer Evans. Yes, a clear case of self-defense on your part, dear fellow. Perhaps it's just as well that it should end this way. If he had killed you, would not have let him get out of this room alive. Not following some of the trains of thought here. Oh, and they cut to the sitting room. Holmes, I do wish you would stop that. Stop what precisely? Ruminating over my injury, you said yourself that it is a flesh wound and quite superficial. I'll be back on my feet in no time. You must stop worrying. I was doing no such thing. I was considering an entirely different matter. I may not be a master of observation, but I've known you long enough to think otherwise, my dear fellow. There must be some way for me to help Watson. Making a close observation of him will be a good place to start. Let's look around. There's a jackknife. Nice. Grab that. If I take the knife, all of my letters would be liable to go astray. Are you serious? I am going to use knives as my paperweight from here on out. This is how you get men. Memento on my cases. Photograph of late opera singer Irene Norton, née Elder. Woman who was able to utterly evade my traps. I was always rather pleased that she did. Strange place. There's a place for crime that we don't have here in America. Single silk embroidered slipper in Oriental style. I lost his partner many years ago. Since then it has been used as a receptacle for tobacco. Interesting. And poker. On a warm day there's no fire to tend. It's interesting. So we're on Bleecker Street. If I pick up my equipment and take it away from the table, I'll invariably, absentmindedly, put it down somewhere unintended. Do not want to repeat the zinc in the butter dishes. This guy must be the best to live with. Well-used set. Chemistry set. Some of my most complex cases have been brought here. Were Bunsen, Burner, and Beaker. Books and files. An eclectic selection of books. Once Watson's novels and my own reference books were carefully delineated, but after many years of living together, they're hopelessly muddled. They also have brotherly love. It's so weird because it's a dictatorship, and it's more like a republic, like a Republican dictatorship. So they have these weird things, like I said, like crime in there, and it hits a place. And you're just like, no. But it's not about the people necessarily, and then it just is. Take down the dirty dish to my housekeeper, Mrs. Hudson. feel that would set a bad precedent. She may expect me to do the same again in the future. He's so gentrified, you know? It was just weird where the lords and ladies went down a step, but then the upper middle class met them. Like I said, it's this weird republic. Instead of going from monarchy to democracy like almost everyone does, they're socialists. They adopted capitalism a little more. This is Dr. Watson's gasogene. It's quite clever. Lower chamber contains water. The upper chamber is tartaric acid and sodium bicarbonate. The two chemicals react, producing carbon dioxide and carbonating the water. Prefers to drink his water fizzing with bubbles. There are usually some gases in here, but they're absent. We'll have to improvise. Interesting. I assume I'm going to have to leave the room to get anything done. I mean, that's my assumption. Entirely too large to easily take down. I rather like it where it is. Painting a Turner's a great waterfall of Reichenbach has been here since Watson and I moved here. It's taken additional meaning in the course of our adventures. We go back to Switzerland, you know, for a holiday. I imagine it's rather nice, not when it's not fleeing for one's life. It may be, however, I would prefer not to. Interesting. So I think we're supposed to observe Mr. Watson. This was like step A, which I skipped to step, V, which is fine. My intimate companion and biographer, Dr. John H. Watson, could be observed about him. I should visit my brain attic afterwards. The TV Holmes had a mental palace. This guy has a brain attic. We're not trying for the gentrification anymore. Just being rude to the housekeeping now. Prior to that, there was a place for that in society where she would have made some, street money off of it. And if she had committed some sort of if a priest was talking about her, she had a fight with her girlfriends, or she committed a minor infraction, she would have been able to use that to kind of straighten things out. Afterwards, to see what deductions can be made based on my findings. I imagine I have, something I can enter in through the interface. Yellowback novel entitled Lady Detective Makes It Right. Picture of a young lady examining a footprint on the front and an advertisement extolling the virtues of cocoa on the back. Crevice shot in the left thigh, evidence is mostly gone. Bloodstained trousers have been burned, bandages are not visible. I can tell that it's causing him discomfort. Quite enough gunshot wounds. You're brooding again. I'm touched that you're so affected. Deeply touched, but I hate to see you keep parading yourself. What's his face? Look at your face. Look at concentration is occasionally interrupted by him wetting his lips and clearing his throat. Fact has been added to your brain. You can't call it that, senor. I understand that the construction here is simplified, but it's still called a mental palace. That's what it's called. Just observed something important about Watson. I should enter my brain attic in order to see if I can make deductions. Brain attics are southern, senor. Not English. England, and the islands, etc. are tribal. So you don't have the same sort of, there it is. Hominess to literally everything that Americans take for granted. We have such a mix of cultures and subcultures that, for instance, men cannot just have one role in society because you will inevitably run into a man from a different tribe, who has a completely wrong set of rules as far as your life is concerned. And you will in no way benefit, and there will be altercations. I like to think of my mind as a space full of well-chosen materials and information which I can draw on in order to complete my work. Keep a record here of people who are significant to me, represented by the portraits on the walls. Interesting. I don't see any portraits on the walls currently. I don't know if he thinks that he clears it. In general, I use a palace because you put statuary in it. For instance, this blackboard is very important. I use it to combine observations I've made in order to make deductions, metaphorically, of course. Alright, let's see. Facts you discover appear in the box below. Watson keeps clearing his throat. Should be able to examine Watson. Look for clues about how I may be able to help him combine the facts that I make. Some important news to share with Watson when I know that he is comfortable. Can I help Watson? Watson keeps clearing his throat. Okay. So let's go back and talk to him. Pick him up, toss him in bed. Make use of Watson, converse. Oh, interesting, these are gramophone. Have you written any stories lately? Jotting some historical fiction, struggling to find a home for them. Fear of the Dancing Men would be a popular case. It certainly had a touch of the sensational. Where are the glasses that usually reside by the gas gene? One of those broken in your chemistry experiment. The rest are being cleaned. You ever considered a dog? Found a dog because they require considerable care. Loyal beasts, excellent notices. Do you remember old Toby? If I had a little more space, I thought Mrs. Hudson would allow it. But to buy him and have him here with us. Now both man and dog are long dead. Oh, such a way of things. I'll let you return to your book. But talk to Watson. Let's go back up to the blackboard. Oh, there's Mycroft. My brother Mycroft. He's my superior in observation and deduction, although he does not have the energy or ambition to be a detective. I don't think real-life Sherlock would say that. Not there's technically a real-life Sherlock. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books obviously being the authority on that, and I couldn't stand the fact they took the main fact that would lighten things up and always obscured it. So it was always Sherlock Holmes who had the power of abduction, and unlike Ilnam de Rosa, I can't speak Italian right now. Unlike that, you couldn't figure out along with the MC. They just didn't tell you all the stuff. There would be like scratches on the lock, and that's how you knew the guy was blind. That was the culprit. Because it was elementary, my dear Watson. Watson did not go to his elementary school and did not have the capability. He lacked the basic building blocks to reason the way that Sherlock does. Abductive reasoning being an extraordinarily hard thing to use to prove a case. You do it different, for instance, in Belgium, and we have this rival, you know, in the case files or books of the Nancy Drew of Belgium, Hercule Poirot. You should not be here by rights. Place of facts and logic. He's a distracting factor, grit and sensitive instrument. Yet I want to find him here all the same. They compare the upper class or the gentry to sociopaths a lot, and it's heartbreaking because there's a ruthlessness to science that can't be condemned. We have middle America saying things like moving arms is illegal, and we're the largest arms dealer in the world, you know, and they do it because it protects them in their suburbs and so on. But how does that help, you know? Can it help Watson? Important news for Watson. So this is actually considerably more involved than I thought. Fortunately, he would always be there to pull you back from the brink. Now you're retired, living a life full of bees and philosophy. You're able to explore your entire grounds. Oh, there's Toby. And kind of get a little bit more involved with Sherlock's life. Sanjay has been reading about me. And then there start to be murders in the town. So this goes on for some time. It allows you to explore the whole entire area around Sherlock's home, which is interesting because they don't place it in London. So you're retired away from his infamous apartment, and they really took you a little bit more into the life and times version of a Sherlock Holmes mystery, where he's not pursuing for the London police, and he's not necessarily going to get written about by his, you know, good friend Watson. So, link in the description below. If you do want to try it out, it's on Steam. Also down there is Gamer Grind, Gamer Coffee shipped to your door. They'll put your logo on merch for like nothing bucks, so you can support the Pirate Queen. Buy this chick a coffee $1 at KOFI, make me smile. Or you can do Patreon. If you like a monthly subscription, that's $5 a month. You can go that route. What else? Definitely subscribe. So hit subscribe and hit the bell. I don't want to take you through the slow pacing that I have because there's not a hint as to do what to do next. So I'll attach this to the end instead and just kind of do the outro. And then eventually, as more people play it, because it just came out, then you'll be able to get a little bit more insight. But it was one of those game jammy sort of things that really just clicked. So we love it. We love everything about it, including the pacing. The only thing is the discrepancies with Sherlock. He is an American interpretation. So just be warned, if you do hit that subscribe button, you hit the bell, what it'll do is pop you up the thumbnail. So if it's something that you love, like this, sort of mystery, then you'll be able to tune in with us and kind of find out what you love in gaming. We love you guys. We love that you're as along for the ride, and we'll see you next video.